let's go to the next discussion. I have my colleague ready to go on stage. The next topic is going to be about opportunities in engineering through generative AI. And for this, I have a colleague that is the Venture Associate for Plug and Play. Ladies and gentlemen, let's receive Tim on stage. That's good, right?
Thank you.
Like it?
Thank you. Yeah, welcome to our panels about opportunities in engineering enabled through generative AI. Like everything is about AI, especially about currently generative AI. Like we see more and more investments into the AI field. Also, like everyone is speaking about AI. Also, Said mentioned currently, like some minutes before, our activities we recently launched at Plug and Play in the field of AI. There's happening a lot. Everyone is speaking about AI. And today, we would like to speak about, in our panel, about the intersection of generative AI and engineering. And therefore, I welcome to stage Lu Han, Open Innovation Program Director at Robert Bosch Venture Capital, Peter Feigerle, Senior Manager, Daimler Strategy, as well as Markus Meiler, Vice President at Webasto. Welcome.
Can we sit?
Yes. Yeah, welcome. The use of AI opens up completely new possibilities which were not possible anymore before. And my first question goes to you, Peter. What kind of new application and or also technologies do you see which currently arise in the field of AI and engineering?
So, what do we see? It's a fantastic future. I started engineering because I want to solve problems. Then it turned out I need to fill out Excel tables in my professional life. So I see in future that many engineers can do what they are passionate for. They solve problems without spending too much time in administrative areas. So that's the real future we see.
Yes. Yeah?
Yeah. And I think that the whole change that generative AI brought us with regards to how we deal with data doesn't have to be applicable to engineering, but it definitely changes how we learn in the future. Yeah, so we have a lot of engineering know-how in Germany, in the head of our people, and how do we download this in a model or in an interface, in a space where that, from which that the new people, the younger people can learn easily. So I think this is a very fascinating application of generative AI, and this is actually can be implemented already somehow today.
Peter, and for you at Daimler Trucks, where do you see like generative AI coming in for the engineering process?
Yeah, I think the major change we see through generative AI is really the interaction with technology. It's not a classical thing where you need to wait for someone to enable a technology. The technology is readily available, and it allows you to interact with testing data. It allows you to interact with documentation. It allows you to interact with contracts in a different way. And this is, as Markus just said, one of the key applications. Take away repetitive tasks, takes away tedious tasks of documentation, of optimization, of reading, writing contracts, even negotiations part. And where I do see the biggest benefit also in engineering is for co-pilot applications, so inspiring you, yeah, getting a very fast idea of where you want to take something, getting an AI to really give you first ideas, challenge your ideas, and help you engineer new topics in whatever field of engineering. Yeah.
Yeah. If you change or switch more now in the direction of how to work together with startups in this field, we see also like in the field of generative AI, like recently more and more startups get funded into this area, but also emerge into this area. Are you currently also working together already with startups? And if yes, where do you see the greatest potential for coming in for startup technologies?
So startups are a really vital part of this journey. So through the startup Autobahn, we got connected with certain startups. We started to investigate the POCs, and it's really daily work now to give more speed and solve problems we were not able to solve our own, or we wouldn't be able to solve them in that speed we could utilizing the startups. So they are really helping us to get more speed on that fantastic technology.
Yeah, I think startups are very good at adapting very fast to the requirements that we need in that case. So also if they have a specific tool which will fulfill 60% of our requirements, they are able to adapt very fast. So the part of co-engineering the solution and making the AI work better for the use cases that we discussed this in is really a highlight here. And we see this in many applications, for example, in after-sales, sales support, but also in R&D and engineering when it comes to basically manuals, to create new ideas, to create new things. And here startups really help us to refine those ideas, be new, and get us ready in specific areas, application, and enhance of what we get from enterprise solutions all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since I'm from Open Bosch, the Open Innovation Program of Bosch, so we do work a lot with startups, and we have already set up around 20 POCs globally with startups for this topic. So I see there are two categories of startups that we work very deeply with. So the first category is the startup that are very deep in one particular application. And they really combine the capability of generative AI with subject know-how. Yeah, so there are startups that are working in semiconductors, for example, and this can be as deep as, for example, for quality management. What are the processes for quality management? How can you combine that with the generative AI technology? And the second category of startups that we are working really closely with are the ones that build up the technical backbones to realize chatbot from data. And I have to jump out of engineering again. So this is not just for engineering, but of course there are so many use cases in engineering that can utilize this backbone. And we are working with a lot of startups in that areas. So it could be, if you are in embedding, if you are in prompting, if you are RAG experts, and if you are good at data injections. I'm not doing advertisement here, it's too early. But if you think you're good at it, come to me. We are very happy to talk to you guys.
Louis, you work with so many startups together at Bosch. You have, I think, a great experience into this field since you work on a daily basis together with startups. Do you also see some threats, especially generative AI startups working together with larger corporations? Are there any threats or risks? Lou?
The political correct answer, yes. And of course, there's data security issue and everything. I will not repeat everything. But personally, what I see the biggest threat is to give up, to have too high an expectation, and give up immediately when the expectation is not met. And especially in the area of engineering, it takes a long time. Yeah, so I think it will take a lot longer to realize those cool applications that we just mentioned. Look at our data quality. Yeah, that will take a long time to get in the level that can actually be used and generate useful insights in engineering. So yeah, that's it.
And Peter, Markus, do you see any risks, if you work together with startups in the setting of larger corporations?
Yeah, there are fields where you can work very good, and there are fields that are more difficult to incorporate. Sometimes it's quite difficult if it comes to the product sector in engineering, so the solution for the product yourself, your company stands for, your DNA is in. That gives a lot of hurdles with your own engineers. It's more easy to go to the tools, to the methods, because there, most times we are using them and not developing them our own. That's why we are more open to utilize new ideas that speed up our own way of designing the product. So if you stay out of the product area, it's very often easy to start and more easy to implement. If it comes to the product itself, then the cultural entry fee is a little bit higher.
Yeah, and I mean, as we mentioned specific applications before, I think in the beginning it helps us very much if we can use those large language models and the other technologies that startups use to really be specific. For example, if a startup and the training of the large language models of those startups help us in a specific field of engineering on our own company data, it will be much easier for us to apply it and to work with that and further develop it than we have it combined with an open source. Of course, the full potential of generative AI will only come if you use everything that's available in the internet, but I think for the beginning of working with a large corporation, it's really about showing how can you work with specific sets of data, how can you work with that specific use case, and how can you also broadly enhance that, and lastly, of course, prove that there's a business case behind it which you can somehow capture.
Yeah, thank you. Markus, based on your domain knowledge, you have so much knowledge in the field of AI and also have gave us very good practical example. From your perspective, Markus, which future trends you foresee changing the engineering process?
As I said in my entry statement, when it comes to the administrative work where you don't solve real technical questions, that's an area where I see the most potential. When I look on our development projects, requirement engineering is consuming so much energy. Here I expect a lot of speed up to make requirement engineering to what it's meant for. It's preventive, it's mitigating risks, and it's not documenting what's already known. So here I see really a big change, a heavy influence, of course, in designing software, in designing parts. There will be a lot of assisted work as well. Doing the reviews, this is something that can utilize, and even getting the knowledge for certain methods or tools in your company. In the morning, you learn it in Japan. It regularly takes you weeks and months to transfer that knowledge to the US or to Europe. With Gen AI, I expect that this is available very, very fast, almost in real time, so that could speed up our work really.
Yeah, and I think in addition to language, basically having access to knowledge all over the world in big corporations, enhancing that and pulling it together is one big thing. The second thing I see, generative AI is very, very good at interpreting data and adapting it to the technology, understanding where it comes from, how to use it. So cleaning up data quality, cleaning up databases is something where it can help clean up and get all this information in a way that you can really use it not only with generative AI applications, but also with AI applications in general. And lastly, people don't forget, I mean, generative AI understands language, and code is also language. So the future Gen AI applications will be able to enhance code, and one of the most exciting examples is generative CAD, where you as a human can ask it to improve the aerodynamics of a vehicle, and it can suddenly in seconds create you a new CAD model fitting to your requirements. But again, we see this as an evolution. We see this as initially being a co-pilot to help engineers get there. And of course, the future will be more and more automated, and the checks that the human have to do will decrease over time.
It makes the impression that you are confirming to the topic, like what the other said.
Yes, so basically, we're definitely in the same line. We see the technology in Gen AI is there are three categories. Yeah, so the first category we are trying to realize right now is the knowledge transfer, right? So the knowledge management. And there, of course, we still have the challenges of reading all different types of data. So if talking about future trend, definitely, I mean, even for the first level of application of knowledge management, we are still trying to understand how we can transfer PDF into the model. How can we do multi-model transfer of the knowledge, and then so this is what we call talk to our data or knowledge transfer whatsoever. And then once we have that, we move to the analytical stage. Yeah. So then the generative AI technology will be a little bit smarter, as in it will help us to make more decisions than just doing researches. And the last stage that we see, I think, many of you have already seen it on the internet, is definitely the agents, right? So the multi-agent is a huge topic right now in generative AI. The impact it can do to digital twins, to the level of automation that we may never be able to imagine nowadays. So this is how we perceive it at OpenBosch.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we come to an end for our panel now. But before we end here, do you have any insights or any takeaways you would like to share, some final words with the audience about the future will change in the field of generative AI?
I mean, it's all about trying it out, get used to it. This technology will be everywhere. It will affect every person that is working on a computer. So get used to it, try it out, get your teams to work with it, get your companies work to it, and be sure you're ready for all the advancements that are coming over the next few years.
So it's really starting it. If you don't start, you won't fail. If you won't fail, you won't learn. If you won't learn, you won't be competent. So that's something you need to accept, that you will fail, but with every time you fail, you will grow, and that's something we really need to utilize.
So for me, it would be dream big, put in the effort, and stay realistic.
This was short and on point, and we perfectly are on time. And thank you so much to the panelists. And yeah, stay tuned for the next part.